Hello again. We in a Vauxhall Astra, as you can see. It's a 1.6 petrol model, manual. So what we have is mainly the customer called me for a no clutch pedal. As you can see, nothing. It's just, there's no pressure at the pedal. Basically what happens with this pedal is I can bleed it. It will stay on for not even 5 minutes, for a few minutes, and then you will lose pressure again. So there is no leaks in here. There's no leaks on the floor. Nothing is wet. Everything is dry. I've checked all the pipe running from the master cylinder to the slave cylinder. All the pipes are dry as well. There's no leaks, nothing. The only thing that I've seen so far, when I came a few days ago to diagnose it, between the gearbox and the engine where it meets on the actual connection, there was a drip of which I believe it was brake fluid. It wasn't engine oil, it wasn't gearbox oil. It was basically clear kind of goldish substance, like brake fluid. So yeah, so that's why I'm suspecting the slave cylinder. Hopefully I will manage to do it without taking the subframe off, but if I do have to, I will take it off, but hopefully not. So as you can see, so I've removed the batteries, the clutch fluid, a pipe that goes right there. There's a clip. The only thing I need to disconnect is the gear selectors and the bolts. So yeah, let's get to it. And as you can see, we are done on the top, the gearbox. We've removed those 4 bolts. Disconnect the cables. So only mount. So as you just saw, I've took out 3 of the main bolts to the bell housing. I've left this one because this will be the one that will be holding the gearbox, you know, just before I remove it. So this is the last bolt to remove before I take the gearbox out. What I'm gonna do now is remove this bolt, which goes through this mount. Remove this bolt, remove those 2 bolts, and remove this mount. And also remove this mount, and remove this mount bracket, which is basically mounted on one bolt there, one there, and one just above it. So there's 3 bolts holding it, and 1 bolt that goes through the mount, and those 2. I'm not sure if I'm gonna remove this. I don't think so, because this will go through the actual subframe, and I think it's gonna be a bit hard to remove the bolts. So I would just leave this in place, but remove the bracket. So yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do now quickly. And then I will also remove all the bolts that goes through the engine onto the gearbox, and then I will move on to the suspension, because I need to remove this drive shaft and this drive shaft. So yeah, so let me just remove those 2 brackets, and then yeah. So I forgot to click the record button. So yeah, I've removed those 2 bolts and that 1 bolt that goes through. Remove the whole engine mount, so we have much more space to work. Okay, so as you can see, the bracket is off. It was held on by 3 bolts, as you can see, 1, 2 and 3, and that 1 bolt that goes through. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the wheel off, both wheels actually, disconnect the shock absorber from the hub to pull the drive shaft out. The way you take the drive shaft out from here, you basically put some kind of screwdriver or a chisel or whatever you have, something metal, against this at the best angle as you can do, and tap it with a hammer, and it should pop out. And just basically I would just leave it on the side, yeah, and do the same with the other thing. So whatever I do with this side, I'm not gonna record the other side. It's just basically the same thing. So yeah, let me just do this side quickly and show you guys. So as you can see, I removed those two bolts. I had to remove this caliper bolt and move the caliper back to remove the bottom bolt. Now I'm gonna try and you know, pop the drive shaft off the gearbox. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to record it. I'm gonna try my best. Also, just make sure you've got some pan underneath to catch the oil. There will be some. There you go. There you go. So it did popped, as you can see, the oil. So it's gonna catch it, measure how much came out, and I'm gonna pour the same amount in. So yeah, now we're just gonna push the whole hub out so we have some space, and we're gonna do the same thing that we've just done there. So remove those two bolts, remove the caliper to remove the bottom bolt, and pop the drive shaft. On this side is going to be a little bit much easier. I mean, a little bit easier because there is much more space to get to the drive shaft. In here, as you can see, it's just a little bit, but take your time, don't hammer too hard, because you know, you don't want to damage anything around the gearbox. So yeah, so let me just do the other side and then I will show you what's next. Okay, so as you can see, the gearbox is off, this old clutch is still on. I just wanted to show you, there is a drip of goldish fluid, which is brake fluid, and also right there you can see it's all wet. All we have to do is to replace this is this, and there is also one on the top, and you have to disconnect this pipe, and this should just slide off, slide new one on, tighten this, all these 3 bolts, and there is a seal underneath this which has to be replaced. So as you can see, there is a black seal which is just right in this groove. Try and see if I can take it out. Right there, that's the one seal that you want to remove, and in the clutch kit they should include this, so just make sure you replace the seal. So yeah, I'm gonna quickly put this new seal in, put the new release bearing on the slave cylinder. I've installed the new rubber seal around there, not sure if you can see, but it's there. So now I'm just going to put the cylinder back in, tighten it up, and get to the clutch. The clutch is already off. I'm going to show it to you in a second. So let me just do the cylinder first and then get to the clutch. The reason I'm not recording everything is because yeah, well, I'm going to try and record as much as possible, but if you don't see much, it's because I'm only having this much space in there. So it's not really much space, but I'm trying to show you every single step that you have to do. But if I don't, then sorry about this, because I don't really have much space to record as well. So yeah, I'm trying to show you as much as possible, so bear with me. Make sure the O-ring sits flush, and just slide your cylinder in, making sure that pipe goes in, and yeah, now that's your 3 screws, 3 bolts. Make sure you do this by hand first, because the casing is aluminium, so if you it's very easy to cross thread. So make sure you just do it by hand first. Yeah, and now you have to do, you're not going to be able to see it, but all you have to do is just connect that pipe onto the cylinder, and you're done with the cylinder. So I'll do it off the camera, because if I'm going to just be doing this, all you're going to see is my hands, so there's no point. But yeah, as I said, I'm going to make sure everything's clean before I put the clutch on. And yeah, so before you put the clutch back into the car, you will need to align the clutch plate and the clutch pressure plate. The way I do it is basically I use a small extension. I wrap the tape until this will fit very tightly in there. So as you can see, it's going in straight. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all this onto the car. You know, put the bolts hand tight, and then I will make sure that this is basically in the very center of the circle. So something like, it's very hard, but yeah, something like that. Basically, you get what I'm trying to say. So yeah, so this is my way of aligning the clutch. There is a special tool for it. I do have it, but this works the best for me. So I'm always using, you know, options that are much easier for me, and this works. So this is the way I've been always doing it. So yeah, if you don't align it good, you're not going to be able to put the gearbox back in. So yeah, nothing will happen if you're not going to do it the perfect way the first time. Okay, so as you can see, the clutch is on. It should be in the center. We'll see if we can put this back on. The cylinder is on, everything's tight, so time to put this back onto the engine, and we'll see if it fits. Okay, so I've stopped recording for a bit because I was kind of in a rush. But yeah, so what I've done so far from the last time is put the gearbox on. Luckily I done it first time, so I did align it good. So yeah, so I've put the gearbox on. As you can see, bolts there, done all the bolts up around the gearbox, done the fluid pipe. I just put it in because it was just dripping. So yes, I'm gonna have to bleed the clutch later. Yeah, and basically that's all I've done so far. I've put the gearbox mount on so I can take the jack off, and yeah, so far so good. All I have to do is put this mount in, put this bracket in. I mean, before that, I put the drive shaft back into the gearbox, make sure they click. So yeah, so let's just do the drive shaft now, and then we'll do the engine mounts, and yeah. So I'm gonna set a camera so you can see how it meant to click in. So fine, hopefully you will be able to see. So look right there. So as you can see, I'm inside the car. I already test drove it. As you can see, the clutch pedal feels okay. It goes into every single gear, including reverse. So yeah, everything is done. So just gonna speak to the customer, and yeah, job done. So if this video helped you, let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you like the video if you did, and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you in the next one.